The following program was provided by an independent producer solely responsible for its content. The opinions expressed do not necessarily represent the views of this station, its staff, board of directors, or underwriters.
My name is Jasmine, and I am a recovering drug addict.
My name is Richie Farrell, aka the Old White Junkie.
And we are your hosts for Exit Team Nashua.
Our mission is to bring recovery into the living room.
Last year, over 72,000 Americans died of an accidental overdose.
That's almost 200 Americans every single day.
We will bring you guests with real-life experiences with addiction and recovery. Welcome to Exit Team Nashua. Hi, welcome to Exit Team Nashua. My name is Jasmine, and I am your host. If you are just tuning in or this is your first time watching the show, Exit Team is a show to bring recovery into your living room. Our mission statement is that we take people on the show who have real-life experiences with addiction, trauma, or any kind of resources and make them available to others to let people know that there is resources out there and that there is hope and, that people do overcome these things, and that you don't have to continue to suffer, and that there are people out there that care. So today's guest is Tashima, and I thought that she was going to wear a cat outfit, and I wanted her to have ears and a tail. Oh, I really misunderstood. The wardrobe.
Different definitions of catsuit.
Yes,
you had a picture in your mind. I had a picture of what was in my closet. Really glad I didn't wear the catsuit, especially since we have my real name up here. Let's not today, maybe tomorrow.
However, she has inspired future shows. We are going to start doing the shows in costume, which I'm very excited about because if anyone here follows me on social media, I love to dress up in costumes. Vampire costumes, elf costumes.
That pumpkin was so dope. With your foot like that, the way that it was like angled.
Yeah.
It was amazing.
I carved a pumpkin and wore it around on my head for a photo shoot. Me and one of my friends got like animal helmets, I guess. They covered our entire neck from the neck up, and I was a unicorn and my friend was a tiger. And we roamed the streets of Boston wearing these things, doing the most bizarre poses, walking into public places, getting kicked out for the photo shoots. So I love the idea of costumes, so thank you. So tune in next week for unicorns.
Yeah.
And then cats. And I'm hoping at some point maybe we could do zombies.
Yeah, velociraptors. Let's go.
Oh my God,
whatever you want.
I didn't pick that one first. Oh my God, I love velociraptors.
I love you,
velociraptors are like the little ones, right? Right? Did I get it right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. From what Jurassic Park tells me. That's where my sources are.
So you're here on Exit Team.
I am. First time. Craziness.
Here? Yeah, you're here.
I am here.
Okay.
I mean, I'm mentally, physically, and spiritually here, like right now.
Okay.
Maybe I wasn't like 3 seconds ago. It's nerve-wracking. Like I haven't done this ever in adulthood. So
wow.
Thanks for having me here.
You're welcome. If you are feeling any type of anxiety, it's going to go away very quickly, I promise you. Because we get so lost in dialogue that all of the cameras and the lights, and you guys see bricks, but we're actually in a green screen. So they see bricks.
Oh.
But all of that is going to be eliminated very shortly because we're going to get lost in dialogue.
Mm-hmm.
So this show is about people in recovery. Are you in recovery?
I am.
What are you in recovery from?
Alcohol, weed, pills, you name it. If it was put in front of me, I was interested in it because I wanted to change the way I thought and felt.
Okay.
Right? Like I wanted to change the way I thought and felt about myself. I wanted to change my surroundings. I grew up in the North Shore, so I grew up in Lynn, Massachusetts. My friend likes to say God's country. If anybody knows anything about Lynn,
I thought it was like Lynn, the city of sin or something like that.
Something like that.
God's country. Okay.
I'd say God's country pretty much fits, right?
Okay. Because when I think of God's country, I think of like Plymouth, New Hampshire, with like the fields and like hills and cows and the sun setting.
It's a different feeling, right? Like it's a different way of feeling God through other people, right? Like I never in my life thought I would be like an ambassador of faith.
Wow.
Right? Like I never in my life thought I'd be an ambassador of like recovery. I never in my life thought like I'd be an ambassador of anything, right? Like I always wanted to help other people. I always wanted to help them solve whatever was going on with them because it was like a puzzle. Like, oh, I noticed this, and this about you. What can we do to change that, right? Even from a little kid. And that was like taking the focus off myself very young on, so I can identify with a lot of the population that I serve now, like you were an inspiration to me,
Oh, thank you.
right?
Wow.
Like Maddie helped get me into this field again.
Yeah.
COVID, I saw a lot of my friends passing away, a lot of my friends relapsing. And
You know what's crazy? Not to like change or like make it about me for a second, but like
please do.
Pre-COVID, Jasmine in recovery, I was aligned with so many people that were walking with me, and they had been with me the whole entire course of my sobriety, and COVID hit, and they're all gone.
Mm.
They literally, they've died, they've relapsed, or they've just moved away from wanting to be in recovery. And
Right.
it's so nuts to like look around and be like, holy shit, my life, my surroundings, and everything. Like, I never, ever thought that that circle of people, that was my people. I could like go to meetings in or wherever I went, and I'd be like my best friends got sober with me.
Right.
And like and now I'm just like, yeah, I'm the only one still doing it. It's crazy. It's so crazy to think about how COVID impacted the recovery community.
And it's like such a beautiful thing to have people that have grown with you through that process. So like that loss is different, that loss of somebody who knew you when you were in active addiction and saw you go through that process. So they know your pain, they know your hurt, they know where you came from to get to where you are today, right? And they've seen your growth over time. So losing people that were so close, like for me, it was like it was a detoxes, it was psych wards, it was halfway houses, right? Like I didn't have resources at the end of my running. Like I didn't have privatized insurance. I didn't have a parent that I could, finagle a bagel into getting somewhere, right? Like I didn't have any of that stuff. So it was public resources, right? Like whatever was in my reach, right? And it was not just me, right? People in the program helped me the entire way.
Mm.
When I wasn't of sound mind and body to like figure out the insurance stuff, like they made sure that I was okay, and that I had somewhere safe to be. And I know that's not everybody's process, but for me, like that made me who I am today. Like if I did not have those experiences, if I did not, they say everybody's bottom looks different.
Yeah.
Like they say everybody's rock bottom looks different, and sometimes there's a trap door or whatever, which is super cliche, but mine was like a spiritual and mental bottom, right? It didn't matter that I was homeless. It didn't matter that I had lost all my spiritual values at that point. Like for me, it was like I lost myself. I lost my mind, as someone with a propensity towards a different kind of thinking, right? Like that stuff runs in my family, as far as like mental illness, things of that nature. Like it was so scary to be out of control without drugs. Like there are people who are in recovery who still don't necessarily have a problem with the drink or the drug, but like the other stuff goes untreated.
Yeah.
And if we didn't Massachusetts is so lucky that we have those resources, and there's so little in New Hampshire for people. Like it's insane.
Yeah. I will say, the New Hampshire's come a really long way over the last couple of years. We have respites now.
Thank God.
Yeah, where people can just like, if you're in the street and you're struggling from substance use disorder, you can literally go to, these really nice housing units where you can get a CRSW, you can get connected to medical resources, you can be safe and secure till you can get into a treatment center, safe and secure till you can get, help for mental health. The treatment centers have just launched everywhere in New Hampshire that take New Hampshire Medicaid. That was not a thing a couple of years ago.
Right.
A lot of people, I shouldn't say most people, a lot of people would die on waiting lists to get into treatment. Yeah, we definitely have a long way to go to catch up to Massachusetts, but I am really proud of the strides that New Hampshire has made.
I hope it keeps going.
Yeah.
We all deserve it.
Yeah.
You know, we all deserve a chance.
Yeah, well, that's what they need us for. We need to be advocates, right?
Amen.
That's our purpose, and we need to keep doing what we do. And for those of us that have similar experiences and journeys with us, we need to encourage them to do what we do, you know, to be advocates, to use our voice for those things, to show people that there is a way, that we know the way. You know, the government has a significant amount of money and resources. You know, they just need to be educated and shown where to put it and how to put it and what works and what doesn't work.
Right.
And sometimes it's trial and error, because what worked for me and you might not work for the third person.
True.
You know,
Very true.
We need different resources for people. You know, I'm very lucky that I got connected to the resources that I did, and those resources worked for me, but they don't work for everyone.
Right. That's something I've learned.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah, I swear. Oh my goodness. I'm going to say this on this show, and I pray to God no one does this, but if you go back 3 years ago and watch some of my shows, I was so close-minded and ignorant, and so I spoke with such conviction that what I was saying was truth and it was the only way. And, you know, I've been really humbled over the years, and I've really been shown that I know very little. You know, I also know a lot, but I know very little. Like, I know a lot for me and what works for me and how to help people that want what I have, but it doesn't mean that my way is the only way.
Right.
Yeah.
Like multiple pathways to recovery, right? Like,
Yeah.
I was one of those people too, where I was saying like, this is how I grew up in recovery, right? Because I've been around, you know, rooms of 12-step fellowships since I was a baby. So I've always heard abstinence, right? And that, you know, the 12 steps are amazing, right? Like, they're an amazing way to live your life. They're an amazing program for living, but it's not the only way, you know? And I think that really deterred a lot of people because they felt a certain type of way if they were on medically assisted treatment, if they had a slip, right? I hear it a lot from people in the community where they're like, I can't go here, I can't go there because I'm worried about the stigma that I carry in a peer support group of people that are supposed to be helping me, right? That have the same thing that I have, you know? That doesn't make me feel good enough. That doesn't make me feel smart enough. That makes me feel alone in like a room full of people. That makes me feel like I need a drink, a drug, a pill, or a joint to be okay. And that's really sad.
You know what's crazy is the stigma goes both ways. So I personally, earlier on in my recovery, not intentionally, I was very ignorant, you know, definitely contributed towards that over the years. I've been shown that I was not right. However, what I have experienced more over the last year is myself being stigmatized for being a very strong individual in 12-step abstinence-based recovery, where people have drastically shamed me for what I do and how I do, and telling me my way kills people, and it only kills people if I'm shaming them. But if I've learned not to shame, you know what I mean? And it's like, you're literally shaming me right now for what I do. And it's so crazy because you just never know what's the right thing, right? You know what I mean? But like, I do need to be a voice, because if I were to choose one of those other ways, it would be deadly for me.
Amen.
It would be deadly for me. That doesn't mean that that's your truth or your truth, whoever's watching right now. That's my truth. And by me speaking my truth, there's no projection on anyone else. But I have experienced people that literally take me speaking my truth as like a bash at them or whatever they may feel. But I have received so many messages, especially like through social media, you know, just really putting me down for being an advocate for abstinence-based recovery. You know, and I'm not saying that abstinence-based recovery is for everyone. I literally don't care what you choose. I love you. You know, this is just what works for me. And if I don't choose this way, I truly believe I could die. So yeah, it's crazy. Just went on a tangent there, but I thought it was important to point that out because I've been experiencing that over the last year.
Yeah.
And then sometimes I feel like, well, maybe I shouldn't use my voice so much, because it's like, and then I'm like,
no.
Yeah.
That's not why we were put on this earth.
Yeah.
To be quiet.
Yeah.
We're not quiet folks. That's not for us, you know?
Yeah.
Like, I'm really comfortable with people I know and speaking like my truth and being open and honest and boisterous and happy and loud and passionate, right? Like, that's what we all have in common in this community.
Yeah.
Is if you hear somebody coming with, you know, their strong feelings and opinions, is from a place of passion, right? And if someone's saying like, your way kills people or you're killing people, like, you can't put that on another person. You know, everybody makes their own choices in life, and they go their own path. But I think that we internalize that, especially if you work in the field or if you're surrounded by people, if you volunteer in the recovery community. I think we take that on. You know, what if I could have done X, Y, and Z? How would things be different? So we just have to like live in the present and help people as we can now. You know, I've learned so much about harm reduction that I did not even know I needed to know. Right. Because I'd put myself here and other people here, right? And like it's never been that way, because either way, I love the people here.
Right.
And I want the best for them.
Yeah.
And I want to see them shine. I want to see them recover. I want to see them get their families back in their lives. I want to see them grow and realize that they're in the moment that they've been waiting for, right? So many of us are just waiting to be happy. So many of us are just waiting to be content, and we don't realize we're in that moment. Like,
it's funny. I was oh goodness, this could be like a hot topic for controversy. Maybe I shouldn't bring it up, but I'm going to. I was messaging someone the other day, and they had said something about like going to hell. And I was like, well, like heaven and hell is a state of mind. You know, it's like right here, right now. Like I can show you both. I can show you pure bliss in the moment, and I can show you like pure suffering in the moment. You know, and we were going back and forth around that for a little bit, but you know, definitely don't want to get into like any religious debates or anything like that, but like, you know what I mean? And I can see it right now. I'm going to be getting messages around this. How dare you? And, you know, I'm not like heaven and hell can be right here, right now in this moment, you know, and you can experience pure bliss in this moment and true joy and love and compassion. Right. Even when I'm going through suffering, the really cool thing is, I might not be comfortable in that suffering, but where I am at in my life today is enough to know to embrace the suffering, because it's bringing me to something, you know, and I'm grateful for my sufferings today. And I don't have any less sufferings at 5 years sober than I did. The sufferings might be around different things, but I still go through waves, up, down, you know what I mean, all around. And I'm constantly learning and growing. And I'm really grateful to still be evolving, you know.
We never stop.
Yeah, well, hopefully.
We never stop.
Yeah.
We never stop, you know. I knew when I first met you that you weren't going to stop.
Yeah, wow,
I said,
you.
There's somebody I want to be like.
What?
You know?
Oh my God.
I said that to Sam. I was like, I want to be like her when I grow up.
Stop.
Like, I think you're older than her. And I was like, I'm still not really grown up. And the best people I know haven't grown up yet. You know?
No. I know. People are like, you're 37. I'm like, I'm emotionally 24, honey. Slow down.
I mean,
slow down.
If science is correct and what I've heard and been taught is correct, then, you know, our development does stunt when we start using substances and drinking, right? Like, it's like I'm living the life that I should have been living in my teens, you know, and with a joy that I should have been living in my teens, instead of hiding and finding ways and means to get more, you know, instead of lying to the people around me, you know, instead of being the person that I didn't want to be and said I would never be, right? And now I can embrace that person no matter their age, right? No matter what their choices are in their recovery. And I've learned that, like, you can be in recovery from so many different things.
Yes.
I was like, wait, there's a program for that. There's a program for that. There's a peer support group for that. There's a and it's like so many free resources that people don't necessarily think about.
Okay, all right. Well, I'm happy that you brought up resources. So you're from the state of Massachusetts.
I am.
And so how does anyone in Massachusetts get connected with resources for anyone that is looking for any kind of help, or they're not even sure they want help? They just, I don't know, just anything that's available for anyone.
Absolutely.
Okay.
You can Google local peer support groups and literally just put peer support, and then whatever your thing is, right? Like if you're trying to stop drinking, you know, alcohol use, substance use. There are 12-step fellowships like AA and NA, na.org, aa.org. If you're in the Boston area, aaboston.org.
Do you guys still have a DA in Boston?
No, not that I know of.
Oh my God. DA.
Maybe.
Yeah, DAA, Drug Addicts Anonymous. I used to go to those like a really long time, and they were really long time ago, and they were lit. They were fun. I liked them.
Yes.
Heroin Anonymous. We were talking about Heroin Anonymous, and you said you thought you were being invited to an HA meeting.
I did. I thought I was being.
She means Hell's Angels when we say that.
Yeah, I thought I was being invited to like a biker meeting, and I was like, okay. I don't know. I don't have a bike. I feel like I'd be out of place there, but like, thank you so much. It's like, no, heroin anonymous, dude. I was like, oh, okay. That sounds more up my alley.
Did you go?
No, it was
No.
like in the sticks, and I didn't have a car at the time.
Okay.
But I didn't even know it existed until I
Yeah.
found people with resources. So if you go to a meeting, you'll find people with resources.
It's a pretty lit fellowship in the state of New Hampshire. You're talking like, if you want a very lively meeting, 100, 150 people at these meetings.
Holy
yeah.
Toledo.
Yeah. It's a big thing.
imagine.
So if you're looking to, if you're in the state of New Hampshire and you want to get connected with some kind of resource like that, I would strongly encourage you to check them out. And also, just while we're on the topic, for anyone in New Hampshire that's looking to get connected with the resources, New Hampshire is very blessed. All you have to do is call 211. You will get connected to any kind of local recovery community in your area. You can get an intake done with a clinician. They can connect you to whatever it is that you need for resources. We've made it pretty easy in the state of New Hampshire to get connected with resources currently, and hopefully that sticks around for us. So if you just call 211, they can guide you in any direction that you need help with.
That's awesome.
So yeah,
That's awesome.
I told you, New Hampshire's drastically changed over the last couple of years.
I'm really glad that it has.
Mm-hmm.
Like we were talking about, like, everybody deserves this thing, right? Like,
Yeah.
Everybody deserves a chance at something, whether it's like recovery yoga, Y12SR. If you don't have a computer and somehow you're watching us and you have like a smartphone, you can still look it up that way, right? Like, you can go to your local health centers. They'll have resources. They'll have certified healthcare workers that can help you out. For me, it was like finding the buzzwords for what I was looking for. So like, I'll have people that I know or clients or friends who are looking for a certain thing. And I was like, oh my goodness, there's literally a peer support group for anything that you can think of. And the big thing is, like, we're not alone.
Right.
The big thing is, this disease wants us isolated and wants us by ourselves and vulnerable and not able to communicate with others, just like clinical depression, like saying, hey, there's this great stuff that could really help me, but like, I think I'm just going to isolate instead and continue to do things that make me feel bad about myself instead of doing esteemable things that make me feel good about myself, which is like service work in the fellowship, right? Which is like making that genuine connection with other people, It's so key. I thought I could do it alone for a lot of years, and I could not. So just reach
I still
out.
try sometimes. Get really stubborn,
Oh yeah, I take my will back on a daily, and then I have to just like give it back to God.
Yeah.
And give it back to a power greater than myself. Like, just knowing that I'm not the only one in control of things is a huge burden lifted off my shoulders.
It's so crazy because literally all we have to do is just show up and do the best that we can in each moment. And we can try so hard to control things, but at the end of the day, what's going to happen is going to happen. And all we literally need to do is try and find peace and contentment in that moment.
Amen.
And to give
Yeah.
love to others. But it's so crazy the things that my mind will do throughout the day and where it goes and, what it makes out of things.
And if you're somebody who's watching this who has like intrusive thoughts and like you think they're not important and you think nobody cares, like, we care. Like,
Yeah.
we care a whole lot,
Tashima cares, reach out.
Yeah, I care. Don't hurt yourself or anyone else. Talk to me first. I would gladly share my number and things like that. If you want to put it up at some point, whatever is necessary. Email address, like,
Yeah, and for anyone
just
that,
don't do it alone.
that does want to get connected to Tashima, you can reach out to our Facebook page. I'm a heroin addict. Just shoot us a message and we can connect you right to her. I don't want to put your personal information up on social media just because I don't want it to get. But if anyone that does want help by any means, please reach out and we'll get that to Tashima. Also, I just want to put out a disclaimer. If you're watching this and you're not in the state of Massachusetts or New Hampshire, we have had the honor and privilege of helping people find resources all over the country. So please don't hesitate to reach out as well. Because we are connected to people that are connected to people that are connected to people that are connected to people.
Yeah.
And I've literally sent people literature in other countries through the Facebook page. So if you're reaching out, you're not even sure anything, just reach out. Don't worry about where you're at, location, anything like that. We'll do whatever we can in our ability to try and help you. So
No matter where you're at in the recovery process.
right.
No matter where you're at in the recovery process, you're still worthy of love. You're still worthy of someone who actually cares that you're on this earth, and like, we do.
Yeah. It's pretty
So,
cool, right?
Like, stay. Like, just stay on this earth because, like, it's a lot better than the other option.
Hang out
We
with
get to
us.
have fun.
We're fun. Yeah. we wanted to wear cat costumes today, okay? And our ideas were very different. She was going to show up in like a professional print with cats on it, and I was going to wear like an actual cat costume. I wish we did that. I really do.
It wouldn't have been terrible.
So we're like out of time.
Fantastic, because I thought I was going to throw up this entire interview.
I'm so glad you didn't.
I'm really glad I didn't too.
It might have
mostly.
got some more viewers though. Can we reshoot? For anyone watching, struggling or their loved one struggling, they just don't know what to do. What is like your last words of advice as we're getting ready to leave the air?
Al-Anon, Alateen. Reach out to people in your community. There are more of us out there than you think. And we don't just live in church basements and go to meetings. We live normal lives. And a lot of us are really open and honest, no matter what field that we work in, that we're doing this thing, So look for us, What were the people with smiles on our faces who aren't drinking booze at the company party? Like, we'll be the people that are on the streets doing outreach. Like, look for those people. You have to want it at some point, and you're worth it. So please, please, please reach out to your local, hospitals, even police stations will sometimes have that stuff.
Awesome. Well, thank you for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
It went by so quick because we were so in. I told you we'd be so in the moment that you wouldn't even notice all that. And it happened, right?
It was a lot better, but if it was anyone but you, I would have probably thrown up and left.
Thank you for coming on. Thank you guys. Thank you guys for sharing your time with us. As always, we appreciate and love you. And if you want to get connected with Tashima, please reach out and we'll be more than happy to connect you to her.
The preceding program was provided by an independent producer solely responsible for its content. The opinions expressed do not necessarily represent the views of this station, its staff, board of directors, or underwriters.